Good afternoon, all. It's almost afternoon, I would say. I'm standing in between you and your lunch. And this topic, as he said, has been my favorite topic. And I've been doing it for NCSA Red for quite a number of years. And I have been always thrown this challenge. Generally, even for NCSA Net seminar, this will be the last topic of the day, where I'll be between the doors of the seminar hall and the participants, where my job is to kind of make sure that they stay for my entire presentation, where Lakshmi, Madhuresh, and a few of my friends have done it before with me as well, right? But I like to take the challenge because I am passionate about this topic. Let me just start with my topic, right? I am slightly changing my topic, which was given to me. I'll quickly go through that, right? But what I'm trying to talk here today is getting a job and excelling in your career, right? I would like to put it as a good habits, because habits is the one which you kind of cultivate and grow as you grow, right? It stays for a long time, right? That's why I put it as a good habits, right? Before I start my presentation, big thanks to Dr. Konur and LAS Academy for giving me an opportunity to present in the webinar, where I don't know whether I can match up to any of the presenters who have done it before me of all these days, but I'll try my best to match at least closer, if not closer, at least 25-30% of what they have done. Next to my close friend Shivaram and NCSA friends who have been an inspiration for me, even though I am not closely into LIS profession, but these friends keep me up to date in terms of what's happening in LIS, where we are heading and how people are working and what they are doing in their respective business or a respective organization, through all these kind of seminars, where they provide me an opportunity not really kind of present, but also make sure that I keep abreast of myself with what's happening in this field. And to big thanks to all the presenters, as I said before, and I attended a few of them, and I don't know whether I can match up to them, as I said, but each of them has been inspiring one way or the other for me, and also helped me to kind of keep myself abreast with the knowledge what's happening in LS field, and be it a specific topic or it be generic topics. And finally, of course, our beloved audience who have been patient enough to stay here with us for 6 weeks every weekend, spanning 2 hours of that or 4 hours of their time. And I could see at least today also close to 600 plus participants online. And we had an average of 800 plus participants every week without miss, right? A big thanks to all of you before I start my presentation, right? Let me start with the disclaimer, right? And I would like to say that this is not an official recommendation by me, right? But I'm trying to share some of my learnings as I gone through 18 plus years of experience. And you follow this recommendation by applying your own judgment, what works well for you, right? And I've had to try to add some fun elements so that it doesn't look boring. But you might want to take it seriously because some of them I have put some efforts. And for last but not the least, right, this is a green presentation. You would see more of green color as well in my presentation, because some of the content have been recycled. Recycled in the sense I've used some of my own presentation content, or I picked up some of them from well-known internet websites. Right? Let me try to put table of contents in a different way. Right? I try to call it as a catalog. Right? This was the topic given to me. Right? Facing interviews, how do you sell your soft and hard skills, and how do you sustain and excel in a job? Right? Let me try to quickly take you through what I'll be talking today. I'll be starting with my career journey of how I started and where I am today, and then what generally is a career development cycle, right? How do you develop a career when you are fresh out of your college or out of your degree? And then what's the difference between a job and career, so that you know where you want to go, whether you want to end up having a good job or haven't end up having a good career, right? And then the topic of the hour, soft and hard skills. What do you of both these skills, and a simple guide for a successful interview. Finally, how to build a successful career, right? If you look at this, I try to kind of put it in a way which is more or less like a chronological, in terms of first better understanding of what is job and career, see where you want to end yourself, and then understand what is needed as a soft skill or hard skills, what do you possess as an individual, and then you are ready for an interview by having that. And all the presentations of personality development or resume building of what Lakshmi has shared is going to help you into the come to the level of preparing for your interview, and then how you got a job, how do you convert the job into a career, right? Let me start my presentation. Right, I would always feel that life is a marathon, not a sprint. Right, it applies to not just life, right, beyond life as well. Right, if you take your career or your job, or what you do beyond your personal thing is a marathon. You can't stop, right? You need to keep on moving. You need to look at the next goal. You need to look at the future in what is there for the future. Keep moving towards it, right? I said marathon because marathon cannot be reached by running fast or just running faster than others or running smarter than others, right? It needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of practice. It needs a lot of determination. Let me start my first topic of the day, my career path. Uh, Please, anyone stop me from the panelists if we feel that I'm running fast. Right, let me start how they started. Right, so somewhere in 98 2002, almost seems like 20 plus years after finishing my graduation in physics, I got inspired by one of the librarian who happens to be my brother's friend and colleague, right? Jay Kumar, who was in IG Car Library. Dr. Jay Kumar was in IG Car Library in Kalpakam, right? My brother was working in Kalpakam. They both were close friends. I got inspired by him. I used to talk to him regularly whenever I visit my friend brother or whenever he visits my native. Right, I got inspired by him. I got to know about what is librarianship was all about. I had a two opportunity with me to kind of either move to astrophysics or librarian science. Right, and I tried both. Honestly speaking, I tried both. At some point of time, the competition was so high for moving into astrophysics into top universities, and I had tried the LIS entrance as well in Madras University. Right, to me, I got this one first. I immediately took this for two reasons. One, I love talking to people. I talk a lot. And second, personal reason as well, where I was looking out for job, were looking out for a degree which can get me closer to a job sooner than later, right? If I do astrophysics, that doesn't stop there. I had to do more of masters and then what else, a specialty and all those stuff, right? So two reasons for it as well. And then after doing my MLIS in University of Madras and then joined NCSA as a trainee, that's where my entire librarianship started, I would say, right? Right from understanding the basics of librarianship or how to manage with IT, right? That's where I learned a bit of programming, bit of program management or project management, all those, right? That helped me to get a project of one of the corporate in Hyderabad those days, ICSA Knowledge Park, it's called this. I don't know whether it's anymore there, but we got a project from them based on the major project which I did for NCSI, right? Thanks to our late Professor Rajshekhar, who helped me to get this corporate project. I could get some corporate exposure as well working with them, working out of NCSI, right? That 1 year kind of gave me an exposure of project management, working as a team, working completely on a different platform than an academic, looking more in terms of what is there for the customer, what is there online and all those stuff. That's when I more or less stopped or kind of moved away from the student. I still learn, right? But I would say still the project assistant phase, I would still call myself as a student. The some of the things I learned, right, the hard skills which I'm going to talk later, the theory and practical of librarianship or IT applications in libraries or usage of coding to create websites or newsletters or be it databases, right? Slowly from there, as is shared in my introduction, right, I moved to a corporate setup. That was my first professional beginning. In those years, getting into corporate setup itself was it's not easy and very rare phenomena where you would straight away get without much experience straight away get into a corporate. Even in those days, it was tough. But interestingly, that was the role I joined in Intel was a contract role for an year until I attended the interview in person. I didn't know that it's a contract role. I didn't know that it's for Intel because it was through a manpower agency. But what I decided that day is right. Let me try, right? Let me try, irrespective of whatever be the company, whatever be it. I just applied through Manpower Agency, got a couple of screening done through them, got and then moved into Intel. Right, that's where I started myself as a librarian, where I started the library setup right from the beginning. Right, and it started as simple as building a catalog, making it as online, and then moved as an information specialist, wherein which completely automates the setup of library, wherein people can request book online across India. It gets shipped. Even people from US library can request for books in India, and then I help them kind of get it shipped even without my presence. Right, that kind of automation was done, and beyond that, I started moving towards information specialist role, wherein which how do I help Intel beyond the physical books, right? That's when I started looking at online stuff which was already available through internal portal, library portal, and then looked at what is needed for the research community in Intel that time, and then started looking at role of information specialist, wherein which started completely supporting their all the research work, right? That's when I learned more to be an independent and dealing with ambiguity, because it's not easy working with a research team, managing the library both parallel. Right, I didn't leave the physical library management that time. Still, I was managing both, but at the same time, the biggest challenge was right because of working with role of information specialist. I used to travel between buildings where I used need to keep the library open for hours, kind of make sure that it's open in the morning, closed in the evening, and all those stuff. And also in terms of ambiguity of making sure that I get the books which is being sent to the user or employee on time and get it back on time. Right. That's a big learning I had in terms of being independent, managing all alone with very less guidance or very less supervising, because the manager I had was an operation manager, not from the library background. Even for research, right, kind of took some guidance from US library folks, but more or less manage independently, right? And at that point of time, I got an opportunity to kind of talk to people, right? That's where I learned networking more. That really helped me to talk to people who come to library more and more. And I got an opportunity to talk to internal communication manager who is even now, right, is a well-known Kannada writer, right? He loves library, he loves books, right? I used to talk to him almost every day when he comes to read newspapers and all those stuff. And I was talking to him, trying to network and trying to kind of market myself in terms of what I can do, what is my strength, and all those stuff. He kind of offered me to kind of take 50% role of supporting the internal communications team in terms of website development or newsletter design and all those stuff, right? That's when I started working as internal communication role, and slowly moved on to a full-time role somewhere later in 2007 or 8. Started working as a full-time communication specialist and employee engagement, wherein which I got an opportunity to work on the internal intranet, right, was completely owned and developed by me, right? I would say develop, it includes coding as well, right? It was completely developed by me, and then it started from there, and I didn't turn back after that, right? That's when I started doing a lot of first of its kind in Intel, where the environment I got was really good environment in terms of work culture, where they allowed me to kind of explore what I wanted to, right? For example, the first of corporate flash mob, which was done with the employees, right? I'm talking about the employee engagement part, right? And first of mobile app done as intranet on a mobile app for all the employees, right? I keep looking at the weekly newsletter, and one point of time, one quarter, I took up challenge of pushing one innovative content every newsletter for 12 weeks, right? One quarter, 12 weeks, 12 innovative stuff, which was pushed into newsletter, be it an infographic, be it a quick video, selfie videos, or employee connect engagement contest, and whatever be it. I say innovation because those are the things which was never done before within Intel itself, right? Took up that as a challenge and tried it for one quarter to see what I can do, what I can do different. That really helped me to kind of embrace the change, right, from librarian to internal communication specialist, and nurture relationship. The relationships I built in working with the leadership team, serving the different departments as a librarian or information specialist, kind of really helped me to kind of build more and more network, talk to people more, learn what they do, learn how they do, and help them understand that it helps me to kind of shine in my role as well as internal communication specialist. Right. Here I would like to give you a pause in terms of try to kind of give some relation. This I have done it in my previous presentations as well for as far as NCSA net. This for me, both are similar. The internal communications role or librarian role is more or less similar because both the target audience or the customers or the employees, we serve only for them, and our job satisfaction, our role change, or our promotion, our say salary, or our maybe our feedback, everything depends on what we do for them or how they take it and how happy they are. Right. That's where I draw parallel between library profession and communication profession. That really helped me. Right. To be honest, even today, right, I always think from the customer view. Right. The moment I start working on any communication engagement for associates or for employees, I look at from the customer perspective. Right. What is in it for them? What do they get it from them? Right. How do they understand it? That's how I look at it. Right. Slowly, that's when I realized I've done a few of the first in Intel, got few good names. Right. I've been kind of almost 10 years where I was looking out for some growth opportunity, but I was also looking out for challenging roles wherein which going beyond internal communications or going beyond a certain role within internal communications. Right. That's when I was just about to kind of look at what else for me. Right. There is always a career graph where most of you feel that you are getting into a stagnant stage, or it's getting into a flat where you think that what else you can do, or you may not be completely happy with or satisfied with what you're doing. That's what happened to me more or less. Right. Two reasons. One, internally as far I felt that I should move on, look out for a challenging role, and corporate wide as well. It's not easy after certain years to move up. Right. That's when I was looking out for what I can do. Right. I got an opportunity to work in Amazon. To be honest, this happened within 15 days of updating my LinkedIn profile. Right. And till then, I have not touched my resume almost for 8-10 years. Right. I updated, but I have not updated seriously because I never wanted to change. Right. That was the time I realized that I should change somewhere in March, April, almost this time frame, I would say. March, April, after the appraisal, I started looking at updating my resume. I updated my LinkedIn profile. Within 10 days of time, I got a call from Amazon recruitment team. And it went for almost the interview process went for 2 months with multiple rounds of interviews and different types of interviews. Finally, I got into the role. And interestingly, the reason I took the role is it's a challenging role because I work for Amazon operations, which is nothing but the backend of Amazon.in. Anybody that places an order in Amazon website, that gets fulfilled by operations team, right? Who are people who are working in our warehouses, our sortation centers, or our delivery stations, right? The packages kind of gets packed from there and sent to sort centers to delivery station, from where the delivery boys pick up the packages and deliver it to you. Right. My communication is to mainly targeted for those people, which is like 90% of my communication to those who are on the floor always, where in which their education level is different, their nature of job is different, the kind of time or the amount of time they get to learn about what they do or the know about what they are doing is very less. Right. That's why I took up the challenge of employee engagement role, and then got an opportunity to work with the public relations team, wherein which I could do few videos with them, talk to media, travel across India to do a lot of videos, be it Amazon delivering in Leh or Amazon delivering in Andamans and all those stuff, right? That kind of gave me an exposure to talk to different people, how things happen in different types of cities or towns in India, remote locations, right? Those are all again learnings, right? That helped me to kind of look at beyond, right? What else I can do, right? Organization wise, also few changes happened, and also I was looking out for challenging role. That's when I started looking at supporting in Singapore as well, which is I'm doing remotely, right? I maybe travel once in a quarter or so to Singapore with sites to talk to them, but otherwise I'm doing managing it even today as a remote communication manager, right? The major learning for me here is how do you unplug and recharge, right? This is very, very important when you change organization. Definitely, you might have say, for example, I heard worked with Intel for almost 14, 15 years, right? It's a company like Intel. It's difficult for anyone to get out and then get out of that mentality of what you gain there. It was tough for me as well, but I was very clear in terms of what I learned. I'm going to use it only as an experience, not as talking points. This is what I learned. This is what I've done. This is how it works there, and all those stuff. I kind of completely unplug that and recharge myself to come up with a fresh perspective of joining as a zero. Right? I don't know anything about Amazon. I don't know anything about Amazon operation. Let's start with what is needed for the company, and then use my experience to put it into practice. Right? And be self-driven and bounce back from setbacks. Right? It's not easy, as I said, working remotely or managing people who are spread across India. And I completely, you have to be self-driven because I currently report to a manager who is remote, sitting in Nashville in US. I'm completely self-driven now in terms of what I have to do and how I have to do it. Probably I look out for our guidance in terms of approvals and the path, but more or less it's self-driven, and that helped me to kind of really bounce back from some of the setbacks in terms of moving to a different organization, moving to a different company culture, moving to a different set of audience and all those stuff, right? So that's where I stop my journey, career journey, where in which that'll give you a picture of what from where I was and where I am now, right? If you look at it, I try to kind of put four things in perspective. As a student, moved to professional beginning, where I started thinking about my growth, and wherein at the maturity level, I would say I don't know whether I still matured enough, but I'm looking at that level now, wherein which think of what you enjoy the most, do that. That's the kind of mentality I'm in now, right? Let me quickly move to the next topic, right? As a career development cycle. So first and foremost of anything important is first you should know yourself, right? You should know what are your good values or strengths or ambitions or interest as a person, based on your degree or based on your qualification, whatever you call it, right? First you should know yourself before you're exploring options, right? Then based on what you are and where you stand, this applies even if you're a fresher or even if have a job in hand, right? Even if you're experienced, right? Look, do some occupational research and industry trends in terms of understanding what are the career options available for what you have in your hand. Then slowly move on to get focused, right? You have a lot of things on your plate related to your interest, but in that you pick up which you think will be the best fit for you in terms of your experience or where you want to go, where you want to move on, right? Take work on that to take a decision and set a goal for yourself and start planning towards it. As I said, finally, you have to take action in terms of based on the experience you gain and using all the job search tools and connect with the employers, take action to get into a career development, right? This is how it goes through. It's a cycle. It goes through whether you are a fresher, whether you are experienced, or you want to have explore something different, right? That's where it all starts in terms of knowing yourself and exploring the different options, and then look at get focus on where you want to end up or where you want to go based on the experience you gain, and take action accordingly. Let me quickly go through the catalog of what I have covered so far. Shared some of my career journey with you in terms of what I have learned to where I am now, and career development cycle in terms of what are the four things important for you at any point of your career. And I'll be talking more on some of this. Let's give you a basic understanding of move into basic understanding of job versus career, right? The part to your dream job relies definitely on turning a job into your career, right? So this very much is applicable to everyone in terms of how do you want to take it. Whether people say dream job, right? Dream job is probably I am very honest. I never expected that I'll be working in a company like Intel or I'll be working in a company like Amazon, right? I don't know. Maybe some people still call it as a luck, or some people may call it as a hard work combined with luck, or whatever you call it, right? I still not sure whether I am at my dream job, right? That's what pushes me to kind of move forward and look at whether I am doing good, whether I'm happy with what I am doing. Let me get into a small basics of what is job versus career so that you know where you want to go, right? If you look at the definition of a job, it's an activity done in return for benefits, right? But wherein which, if you look at a career, it is a more or less looked at a job which is in pursuit of a lifelong goals or ambitions, right? A job is what is the task which is being given at you at your hand for a short period of time, right? Career always comes with a lifelong goals or ambitions where you want to go. Motivation, right? So always you get motivated by external factors in a job because you keep looking at what others are doing, what are there in the market, whether he is doing better than me, whether a person working in other company is better than me and all those stuff, right? But wherein which a career is always motivated by internal factors like ambition, right? You look at always others what they are doing, but end of the day, if you want to have a successful career, you want to sit back and see, right, whether it is in line with your ambition, right? Whether Shivaram doing in a academic sector who is doing very well so far, or Maduresh doing in a corporate sector in a different background, in a pharma background, right? I look at all of them, learn from them, but I always look at my ambition of where I want to kind of motivated by that and move towards my career. Branding, right? This is very, very important for anyone who wants to move their job from a career, right? Branding is always considered as a recognition. The definition is, excuse me, recognition for hard work and individual contributions. If you are in a job, right, they always appreciate, okay, did a great job, and you have contributed really well for this project or for that period of time. But in career, right, it's always it's a proactive one which always helps in the growth, which always try to kind of create a name for yourself in terms of, okay, this particular person Prasanna did this, right? This is where stands out when I talk about Prasanna in 5 years of Intel or 10 years of Intel, right? But job is this is what librarian did, this is what information specialist did, this is what you can expect from him, then it is what expect from Prasanna. Progression, right? In a job, it's always unstructured in terms of roles. Unless you have a clear career path defined in front of you, jobs you switch, change, move here and there. It's not structured. But career, it's always, as I said, it's a structured path with clear roles. This works 100% well in terms of academic, where more or less it's defined in terms of hierarchy, where you want to go, what is the next level, how you can reach there. But wherein which in corporate it's not that defined, even though there may be a structure which is already there, but you will always look at whether you are happy with what you're doing currently in that role, and look at moving in a parallel role or perpendicular role as well. Risk, right? In terms of risk in a job, due to external factor, risks are more but stable, right? Because you know that you are happy with the job you're doing, you know that you have the job in your hand, you are happy with what you're doing, you just move on, right? So it's very limited, right? But in career, because you want to have improve on what you're doing in terms of want to improve your skills, or role progression doesn't happen naturally, because you have to really work hard in terms of what you want to do, what you have gained so far, and look at all the skills development to kind of mitigate all the risk that comes in front of you, right? That's where the risk is more in terms of building a strong career. Rewards, right? In job, it's always instant, right? You get a job, you may peak sooner as well than expected, because you just wanted to move on, kind of not bothered, right? Too much about whether I'm happy because this is what I've been asked to do. I am happy to do this. I am happy, company is happy, or an organization is happy, I just move on, right? But career, it's not immediate. It's a long term with continued profession or progression, right? In terms of looking at where do you really want to be, right? As I said before, in my career journey, I still don't know whether I have got my dream job yet, whether I am happy with what I am doing, but whether I'm happy that whether I got my dream job still. It still kind of pushes me to kind of work hard to move towards long term, in terms of kind of having a continued progression of, okay, what I have done so far, I have supported in India, what next for me, right? Beyond India, whether I can support a small country like Singapore, because country wise it's a different country, different culture. How do I kind of support them, right? That's the kind of which pushes me to kind of look at long term in terms of what else I can learn in a similar role. Success, right? Obviously, we all work for this one particular mantra, success, right? And a job, as I said before, it depends on a lot of external factors. It doesn't kind of really come naturally, right? A lot of things have to go well in your favor, in terms of people appreciating, working well in terms of moving your career ladder up and all those stuff. Career is in career success is always in your hands, right? Unless you are very focused in what you want to do, and unless you have a right path in front of you, unless you work hard towards it, right, you will never get to the success, right? That's very very important. As I said, right, success is very much in your hands if you are looking from moving your job to career. You finally end up in your dream job when all these things put together, right? Where you want to kind of move based on the traits which I shared in terms of job versus career, right? You can always end up in your dream job. Let me quickly go through what I've covered so far. So far, I've spoken about my career journey or development cycle, how a career is kind of shaped or based on the four phases, and what's the difference between a job and career. Next is the important topic of the hour, which is soft skills versus hard skills, right? What is soft skill generally, right? Soft skills are personal habits or traits that shape how you work, right, on your own, or how you work with others, right? How we work with others is soft skills. Generally, you get all this, but more or less need definitely support from others or help from others in terms of how do you grow or how do you get these skills, right? These are the traits that make you as a good employee for an organization, right? Such as a big, such as simple as adequate or communication and listening, and getting along with other people, right? It's more important in terms of networking yourself with others. Some of these very basic things which I'll try to kind of cover in terms of soft skills: showing up at time or early to the interview, right? This shows up that you are very much dependable for anything, the task that has been given to your hand. You're always punctual, making sure that you don't make any others wait for you. You make sure that you are on time to kind of help things move faster, right? Maintaining eye contact, active listening. Listening is very very important, which has been spoken in detail about Lakshmi as well, and yesterday in personality development talk as well, right? It's very important you maintain the eye contact with as much as possible with the people whom you are talking, and listen actively in terms of what they are trying to speak, and speaking clearly when prompted, right? This is very important. This is one of the skills which I kind of trying to nurture myself, where people say that, right, I still feel in a corporate environment, people say that I try to kind of speak faster in terms of sometimes I don't let others complete their sentence, right? Speaking clearly when prompted, right? That's a effective communication. You should wait for others to complete what they are trying to say and then respond back. Sometimes it happens to many of us, including me, wherein which we want to kind of bring in or show or share what is in our mind before we forget or before we think that they will change the topic. That happens to most of us, right? It's important you speak clearly when prompted, right? And answering questions about your resume and experience honestly. This talks about integrity, right? It's as Lakshmi pointed out, right? It's important. What is there in your resume is what is there in your mind, what is there in your heart, what is there actually, right? Uh, be honest in what you are put in your resume, right? And answer honestly when they ask for questions about it, right? If you don't know, it's always good to say you don't know, but wait, I should always put it in a positive way. When you say that I don't know, but I'm afraid I know, the answer can be something like, I'm afraid I know, I have experience on this, but since I am a good learner, I think I can learn it faster in a month or a couple of months with proper coaching, right? That's how you put it when you know that you are lacking a skill or something, right? Asking follow-up questions, this is very very important. Again, it talks about active listening. Wait for them to complete and active ask follow-up questions if you don't understand the questions well or concept well. These are some of the soft skills which will kind of help you to kind of get, not only help get a job, but also move up the ladder as well. Work ethic, this is very very important in terms of work ethic. Be All this put together, right, I would say comes under work ethic, right? Be it active listener or integrity or punctual or proper way of handling people, or being honest everything all put together comes as a work ethic, right? Let's go to hard skills. Hard skills are the hardly earned skills, I would say, right? To put it simply, these are a technical knowledge or training that you have gained through any life experience, be it your degree or be it your career or be it just by practice, right? Working with people, right? Some of the hard skills, honestly speaking, can be learned by talking to people, by going through what or understanding what they are doing, right? These skills are teachable and measurable, right? That's where the difference, I would say, more or less, right, between soft skill and hard skill. Hard skills are more or less like have the measurable ability in terms of reading, writing, or math, or ability to see or use computer programs, right? Where you can really measure in terms of how much you can do or what you can do or how much impact you can create, right? When it comes to talking about your hard skills, it's always good to elaborate on your experience and training and provide a portfolio, right? Be it digital or physical. Portfolio typically used in terms of it's more or less used in what do you call visual communication medium, where in which they call portfolio as your resume in a different format, right? It may be a visual format, be it a video or be it infographics or be it a simple audio, right? Providing a portfolio is nothing but a physical or digital in terms of showcasing your skills, right? Showcasing what you have done so far, what you have learned so far, right? Some output end of the day, right? This is an output of what you have gained or what you have learned. Effectively answering technical questions related to the work, right? This is also hard skills which can be done only by practice, right? There are a lot of technical questions that will be asked, but you apply what you have learned in your work and answer, right? Because this doesn't come easily unless you have worked on it or unless you know the theory behind the questions. Asking follow-up questions related to the work, right? This is slightly different from the soft skill in terms of during interviews. This is very much important in terms of asking follow-up questions to the job profile which they share, because that will show that how much you are interested, where you stand, and what is the thing which you think may be missing for you to move into that role, right? And effectively working through the skill set, right, if required at the interview, right? A lot of skill sets you have got, be it hard or soft skills, but work through that to kind of see where do you stand in terms of scaling, right? A lot of resumes nowadays, people put the scale in terms of rating of 1 to 5, with 5 being highest, right? What are the skills that they have got, be it hard or soft skills, and then rate themselves, right? Whether they are 5 rated 4 and all those stuff. Work through that to know, right? You know yourself better than anyone else, right? Put a rating for yourself, work through that to see where do you stand. Okay, now everyone poses a set of soft and hard skills for sure, right? If not all, some of them for sure. So what now, right? So when it comes to resume, which you heard from Lakshmi as well, you pick up something, right? Which is massive. Don't write resume, right? Whatever you have, right? Don't prepare a laundry list and then fire it out like whatever job you apply. Keep that as a template. Put that all 10 bullets everywhere, right? Keep a resume template, then tailor it to each job you apply to. This I need not to say much, but I would like to stress upon a little bit of fact here that when I say tailoring it to the each job we apply to, that very much applies to the description or the profile which you write for yourself, right? Any resume you will see most of them talk about the summary of profile immediately giving after giving the name and contact number at the top of resume. This is where most of the places people kind of gain advantage in terms of scanning through resume or getting their resume cleared in terms of tailor it to fit to each job you apply to. You know the job description well, and you know what you have gained and past, be it academic experience or be it a corporate experience or be academic as a degree, right? Try to write in terms of matching with the job profile which has been asked for. Put it in terms of summary of your experience, and add just the list of skills the employer wants, right? Look at what employer wants. Definitely there will be qualification and then skill set or requirements and all those stuff. If you scan through that, you will understand what they are looking at. Indirectly or directly, they would have mentioned about the skill set. right? Add those in your resume and add couple of more which you may think will be added value for the particular role. End of the day, you have to prove them, right? Not just not adding in your resume. As I said before, you have to look at your skill set list and carefully choose them to tailor it to the job you apply for, so that you can prove when somebody asks, can you just prove that you're kind of, I am going to talk about it in my interview questions as well, right? Can you just showcase or tell me how did you learn, right? How did you attend a particular customer query or particular employee query, which was tough to handle, which has to be done in half a day, right? How did you showcase them, right? They will ask you to prove, where that's where you will use some of the skill set, be it hard or soft skills earned, use those keywords to kind of explain to them. Let me come back to my catalog again to kind of look at we have covered so far. We've spoken about my career journey, job versus career, what is soft skills and hard skills, and let's move on to a guide to successful interview, right? First, right, before you even apply for a job, right, this I don't need to tell, right? But don't take it for granted, right? Don't take it for granted by just looking at only the advertisement which you saw in the newspaper or in the job portal or something. Research beyond that. Use Google extensively but carefully. But honestly, right, when you have to do the research about the employer, the best resource I would say is the human resource, right? Your people whom you know in your network, whom you know as your colleague, whom you know as your friend, or your batchmate, or your seniors, or professional colleagues. Use them more than obviously all the online resources are good. I'm not denying the fact, but when it comes to researching about the employer, right, those cues, because that gives you too much of information. But to get into what exactly is the employer is all about or the role is all about, the person who is closer to that role, or who is have done that role before, or who has been in that environment before, are the ones who can give you the honest and direct answer for it. And it's important, right, I don't need to say this, first impression is the best impression. And make notes right from applying for the role, right? You would have gathered, as I said before, when you do the research, you would have gathered something through your friends or through your professional colleagues or through a senior or through job sites or through their websites. Make notes of them, right? One pager or two pager in terms of what stands out for you in terms of the role or in terms of the organization or in terms of how they work culture and all. And try to match with making sure that you can skill your skills and abilities in the interview. And it's always important when you answer interview questions, right? This can be put it in different way, I would say. I just picked up from one of the websites, right? It's easy for understanding, because star is easy word to remember, right? Situation, task, action, results, right? Whenever you answer, whenever try to answer interview questions, right, I'm very honest here, it doesn't come naturally. It has to be done with the practice, right? Do some practice within yourself, within your friend, within your family, in terms of answering some of these questions. When you know that you want to get the job, you want to take that as a career, right? You do some homework in terms of trying to answer the question using the situation, task, action, results, right? You have been thrown a situation by the interviewer where he has asked you to kind of explain how you have done that or how you do this. You have the task in hand now, and what are the actions you will do to kind of complete the task, and what will be the results you can get by doing the task, right? This is the simplest method, which is easy for answering most of the interview questions, if not all, right? Always remember star: situation, task, action, results. Body language speaks, right? Body language is very, very important in terms of right from there are a lot of videos which are available online for you to kind of understand what exactly is the body language they are speaking about, not just your posture in presentation or your interest. How the body language more or less shows or reflects how much you are interested in the topic or how much you are interested in the role, right? That kind of keen in terms of most of the interviews are right successfully dealt by having a proper body language in terms of I want this job, right? I want this role. beat whatever it takes, right? I want this right from the beginning of when you prepare for the interview. Deal with nerves, right? This is very, very important. It doesn't matter whether you have a fresher, whether you have 5 years experience or 15 years or 20 years, right? It was very tough for me, honestly, after working with a company like Intel for 14, 15 years to move out of the company, but I was not forced to kind of leave, right? And I needed not to leave, but it's not easy to take the decision to move to a role, different role, try for a challenging role. Dealing, how do you deal with the nerves, right? That's about moving to a different career. Or as simple as preparing for interview, it's not easy to me, to be honest. When I was preparing for this talk, right, I had a problem with my video, and then I had a problem with audio where a couple of my friends pointed out that my audio is not muted, right? These all the ones which creates you kind of some kind of panic or nerves in the beginning. Luckily for me, I joined early. That's where really helps you to be on punctual, being on time, right? To test it out, what works, what doesn't work. That really helped me to kind of deal with the nerves in terms of getting the technology part of it ready for my presentation. And after seeing Lakshmi's presentation, kind of helped me to kind of cool myself, understand that, okay, I can do it. I'm ready for the presentation. And build rapport with your interviewer. That's very, very important. Don't think that the person who is interviewing me is just interviewing, asking you questions, right? Don't look at it as a Q&A session, right? Always think that that person is somewhere going to be, you are going to work with him tomorrow, if not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or he may be your manager tomorrow, or he may be your boss, or he may be having a role. Obviously, he has a big role in designing your candidature, but try to build a rapport with him, right? Not just answering straight put to the point of answering questions, but try to kind of make sure that he is also comfortable asking you questions. How do you do that is try to kind of give answers which are simple, which are easy for him to understand, which are easy for him to kind of make the conversation going, right? When somebody asks you, can you brief about yourself? Obviously, I'll be talking about it in later, right, in few minutes. But don't just give a point or line or two about what you do, right? That make it elaborate so that you build a rapport with him. Don't share too much. This is very, very important, right? Don't think that you know about everything about the role, or you know you have done so much about it. Don't share too much. That always kind of lead you into difficult conversations or difficult terrain, which is very difficult for you to come back to the topic, especially in corporate environment where they always believe in doing a deep dive on certain topics, right? When they start going deep into certain topics, because you spoke a lot about it, right, you will never be able to come back, right? It will go deeper and deeper, where you may be kind of feeling uncomfortable after some time. Ask your intro insightful questions, right? When somebody asks you, right, do you have any questions, make it insightful than asking about when will I get hear from you, or what you can offer me, right? Or who else has applied for this job. Instead of asking for those kind of questions, make it insightful in terms of how else you think I can contribute, and where do you think I stand currently, or ask about how the role is kind of going to shape up in 2 years, 3 years, what they have thought about this role, all those stuff, right? End your job interview always on a positive note. End with a smile. Thank them right in front, Ren, and always say that yeah, it was good talking to you. I had learned a lot, just not as an interviewee, but learned as a person as well, right? Looking forward to hear from you soon or work with you, right? Work with you is a word which is always key to kind of end on a positive note that you're looking forward to work with them. Let me quickly go through some of the common interview questions that will kind of help. There are lot of references here and there on internet, but I'm going to pick up some of the important ones, which I think may be useful for everyone, right? When somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, you should be passionate talking about yourself, right? Passion is the difference between having a job or having a career, right? That's very, very important, that you are passionate about yourself or what you do or what you have done or what is your degree, right? Always passionate. Be very clear in what you want to talk or what you want to share about yourself, right? And going forward, just to all the viewers, I'll be using more of the code, more of quotes from other people. I love using the quotes, and all my rest of the presentation will be more or less dependent on the quotes of others. Speak your personal brand, right? When somebody asks you to introduce yourself, it's nothing but branding yourself, right? This is the important topic which I keep talking to people in all my presentations in NCS seminar. What is elevator pitch, right? It's a simple word which is being used in different ways. Elevator pitch is nothing but imagine that you are going for an interview where you happen to enter into an organization where it has a lift of 5 floors, or right from the reception to the interview hall where you get an opportunity to work with a leader, or even if you are in a good role already in the organization, when somebody asks you, right, who are you, what do you do, right, you get a chance of talking to him for 30 seconds or 1 minute or maximum of 3 minutes, right, be even in the elevator. That's the time you get to impress him, right? That is the only time you get to introduce yourself to him. How do you kind of impress yourself during that time, right? Elevator pitch is nothing but a sentence structure, right, for a particular target audience, right? Who are you, what do you do, right, and what do you do differently that helps to kind of make an impression to the organization, right? uh, how do you prepare for the elevator pitch? Eloquence is very, very important, right? Use a powerful and effective language which talks or which highlights key things about you. Throw a kiss, right? It's kiss. Nothing. Kiss is nothing but, as a keep it simple, sexy, right? Sexy. I mean, right? Use a word, right? That's why I use the word effective language. Use a word which really kind of can really make impression in terms of the kind of impact you create for the organization. How do you throw, right? When I mean by throw, right? How do you put that sentences or words into sentence? Preparation, execution, and follow through, right? When you end, right, you end your introduction with a follow through. Always be closing, right? Always make sure that you close a sentence with a meaningful thing which either talks about your impression you create, or you expect something out of the person who is interviewing you or who is talking to you. So I let me quickly go through my elevator pitch, right? Who I am or what do you do, right? I am working for Amazon as an internal communication specialist and public relations guy, right? That talks about what I do, right, and what to do, right? Why do I work there, right? To amplify employee connect, confidence, and commitment. This is what I meant kiss, right? Keep it simple and sexy, right? When I say amplify employee connect, confidence, and commitment, this talks about the role what I play in the organization, and I share as a bridge between the organization and the employee. How do I do that? By building and delivering communication and experiences to keep our employees informed, engaged, and proud to be Amazonians. This is the impact that I can create to our organization by amplifying their connect and confidence as an internal communication, as a PR role. How do I do that? By doing innovative communications, right? By keep the word generic innovative communication, because sometimes it kind of helps when I said before, right? Closing statement. This kind of sometimes helps me to kind of have more conversation with the person who is interviewing me, right? He will ask, what do you mean by innovative communication? Right, then that gives of helps me to kind of share some of these unique thing which I have done, which have created the impact among the audience. How do you introduce yourself, right? Who, what, how, and closing. That's what I shared before. It's important always to share your full name to your listener, right? Be it an interview or be it your manager or be it a general meeting. Because they will be meeting a lot of people like you. There may be a lot of Kumars, there will be a lot of personas on the day, or there may be a lot of persona with a library background, right? It's always important to share your full name, be it initials or be it surnames. Share your area of expertise, right? Uh, as you have seen in my previous slide, my expertise is to kind of build employee connect, confidence, and engagement, so that you build a commitment among them. How can be of help, right? I help as a bridge between the employees and organization, and make it memorable, right? As I said before in my previous slide, make it memorable in terms of what is the impact you create, right? So that they remember those words, or they remember the impact you have created by using one or two keywords. Please flexible and conversational, right? As you have seen in my last word, right? By doing innovative communication, that makes that increases the conversation, to make it more interactive and make it more flexible, right? That can kind of it's a open-ended statement that can I can build my conversation with the person more and keep it relevant, right? You know the person who is talking to you more or less, right? Be it interview or it's a general meeting, keep it relevant for them so that they know what you are talking about. This is quick. Quickly take it through for meetings. Saying your name and company is important in any general meeting. Stating the value you provide or a specialty of what you do. Explaining how can you help or how can you help. Right in the interview, this is for all. Have a complete reason why you want to be there. Right when you introduce yourself, make sure that what is the value add you can bring, and how you can do that, and what is that ties your past experience and the current requirement of the current company, right? You should be able to explain what ties together past and current experiences in a way that is compelling and makes sense, right? This more or less introduction is done, right? Let's move on to some of the important questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years time or 2 years time? What is the goal you have, right? As I said before, I'll be using more of quotes going forward. Your career is your business. It's time for you to manage it as a CEO, right? This is very important. Look at, have some goal to convert your job as a career. 3 years down the line, what you want to become. Where in some government sector, it's some of the roles are clearly defined. Where you want to become. Where in corporate, you will get to know, or you know where you want to be, right? At least 3 years, 5 years. Obviously, 10 years and 15 years is not in your time, in your hand. Look at the short term goal of 3 years, 5 years. This is where I want to be. Try to be talk more about that. What is your greatest strength? This is very, very important for you to know your strength and the weakness, right? Strength and growth come only through your continuous effort and struggle. When you struggle and when you put a lot of efforts, you learn a lot. You become strong in that area. That ideally becomes your strength, right? When you struggle for something, you know that you are not able to cope up or you're not able to do that. That helps you to kind of identify your weaknesses, right? What is your greatest weakness? You are strong when you know your weaknesses. You are beautiful when you appreciate your flaws. When you are wise when you learn from your mistakes, right? This is very, very important. First is not only knowing weaknesses, but make sure that you appreciate, right? Okay, I know. I am very honest here to all of you that I moved out of information profession or library profession, right? I am not an expert like people who have spoken so far in that field, but I am good at what I am, right? Be it information communications role, or be it giving a talk about the seminar topic on career guidance, right? I appreciate that I don't know that, but that doesn't stop me, right? I kind of talk to people and understanding what the role is all about, what LIS profession is all about, what is currently happening. And then you are wise when you learn from mistakes, right? Learn from that, understand where you can improve, where you can take it to the next level. Why did you leave your last job, right? Or why do you want to move, right? This is a common question which is by default asked by everyone. Give the honest reason, right? Refocus the answer on what you future employee can bring you, instead of telling that right, I'm bored of this role, or I was not given the opportunity to grow, right? Or there is a manager and between me and my growth, right? Putting all those negative things offside, refocus the answer on what the future employer can bring you. Why do you want to apply, right, for the role, instead of telling why do you want to leave your existing job? Always stay diplomatic, right? As I said before, it's good to say that why do you want to apply for the role, but stay diplomatic in terms of that doesn't create any negative impact on your current organization, or they should not think that this guy after 1 year this may think he may think the same thing about us as well, and he may start applying other companies as well, right? So you should be diplomatic in your answers. And yeah, why should we hire you? The previous question and this question are more or less related. Know the job profile really well, apply your experience, talk results, right? That's very, very important. Talk results, when I say, right, put that into practice in terms of numbers, in terms of tangible results, in terms of recognitions or whatever it is. And you be the right fit, right? What makes you stand out, be the standout candidate compared to others, right? How do you make yourself be the right fit compared to others? And close the selling pitch. Always important that you close the selling pitch by showing your interest in taking up the role, by showing up the interest about the organization you apply for, or showing up the interest of serving the community.
Prasanna,
Yes.
Prasanna,
Yes.
you have some more slides. We'd like you to conclude a little early.
I quickly skip some of this. I can
Half an hour, all the speakers are waiting.
maybe I'll just take another 5 minutes and close this.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks, sir. So then is about the greatest accomplishment. Try to talk about those which have kind of stood out for you in your past experiences. And salary expectation, you be honest and what you're getting or what you're expecting, right? Probably in the interest of time, I'll be sharing the slides as well, right, to all of you. Some of these questions, how can librarian positively impact the community, right? Decide to connect with others, and ability to see the big picture and knowledge of the role, right? This is where you can impact the community of what you are serving for or the organization you are serving for. And I, especially for librarian, this question will be always raised in terms of what does customer service mean to you, right? How can you do a superior customer service? It all depends on the temperament you show in the role you apply for, in the role you are in, and try to show examples of how you have done in the past in terms of customer service, and how you have, the methods you have adapted to help others, which has created a name for you and for the organization. And explain a time you successfully managed a consult or resolved a difficult scenario or a question from the user or customer. This is quite commonly asked question in most of the interviews. Adaptability, this you'll try to kind of explain in such a way that you show that you can adapt to any situation in terms of timelines, in terms of difficulty of questions, and you show that you are composed enough to kind of answer or take the questions to the next level. And always try to kind of conflict resolution skills in terms of trying to resolve faster in a right way, in the right manner. And how might you create an inviting environment that promotes learning, right? How do you show creativity and show that you are resourceful to help people to learn more and understand more, and be attention to details in terms of requests you get, and show specific examples of your past experiences. And this is also how social media helps as a tool. That helps you kind of gain some marketing knowledge in terms of how you market your services, yourself, and it helps you to kind of understand the target audience, and that entire platform itself kind of help you to kind of serve your community. And why do you want to work with us, right? He always wanted to see how much you know about the company culture, whether you are fit into that role, right? Every organization has its strong points. You try to use those strong points as your strong points and highlight it in your answer. And finally, you will ask, do you have any questions? The size of a success is measured by the strength of your desire or your dream, or where you want to go, right? Or how do you handle the disappointment? So always have questions prepared to ask the interviewer in terms of the future of the role looks like, or future of you looks like. This is what I shared. Quickly take you probably 3 minutes to complete building a successful career, right? It's not what you achieve, it's not what you overcome, right? That doesn't it's about what you overcome is defines your job to a career that makes you to be successful, right? I will always start with how do you build a successful career with the family, right? Family influence is the important factor, or the most important factor in building your successful career than anything else, right? You leave your home to seek your fortune, and when you get it, you go home and share it with your family than anyone else. Exude passion, right? You show passionate to be the role what you are applying for, where you are in, right? Where do you want to see yourself? Go above and beyond to kind of a person who always feel appreciated is the one who always do more than beyond expectations, right? He always take extra step to kind of ensure that people are impressed with you. Self-evaluate regularly to see where you stand, what you learned, whether you lack something of what others have, and learn from your mistakes. As I keep telling, understand what are the mistakes you learned from a previous project or previous role, learn from it and move on from it. And have vision and imagination to have a career, successful career in terms of where do you want to see yourself. A man who carries successful business must have an imagination that this is what I want to be. This is the role I'm looking at. This is what tomorrow my kids want me to see, right? Learn from others, right? This is a simple quote I would like to refer here. Everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't, right? All of you will accept the fact, right, that you don't know anything what others know, or others don't know anything what you know, right? Even anything or the something or the other, you will have something to learn from others. And volunteer for opportunities to lead, right? Sometimes what happens is the job no one wants to conceal or take up will take you to a big opportunity or show up big opportunities for you. Listen more than you talk, right? This is very important. Listen more than you talk, because nobody has learned anything by hearing themselves speak, right? You don't learn anything by talking to yourself or talking in front of the wall or mirror. You learn only by talking to others or listening to what they are telling. Have a mentor, right? Mentor is nothing but that will help you to kind of improve to have a successful life or successful career by having that will help you to kind of train you, motivate you, work in a way that will inspire you and others. Practice humility and empathy, right? Don't show arrogance, don't show think that you know everything, right? Show empathy towards others whom you are trying to work with or whom you are trying to learn, right? Empathy is what makes humility really beautiful. Be self-driven. There is nothing greater education than one who is self-driven to kind of self-motivate themselves, self-motivate their self-motivating us or self-motivating themselves to kind of reach higher heights. And when you want to have a successful career, there is always a change. Embrace the change, because it's always hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. Always seek and give feedback to people. It's very very important as you move on the role. Keep hearing to people, seek for feedback. The most important before I end my presentation, unplug and recharge. There is nothing that helps you to kind of gain more is to kind of being self-driven and unlearn what you learned before and move on. Be organized and learn how to deal with ambiguity. There is nothing certain in the world but the uncertain, right? A relationship you build, networking with people, that helps you to kind of go fast, not go alone, right? It's always helped you to kind of go far, and by help of networking you go with others. So let me just quickly go through what I was trying to kind of. I'm sorry about that. I have to speed up with some of my topics. Unfortunately, maybe I've not worked a little bit on my timing part of it. This is what I shared so far, my career journey, what's the difference between job and career, soft skills and hard skills, and guide for a successful interview. The one which I couldn't talk much is on the building a successful career. And I always end up want to end my presentation, learn and be curious, always, right? That's important. That's where you kind of feel that you are not what you achieved is what you learned. People say that it's only handful, right? There is a ocean full which is there for you to learn. What you learned is just a handful. For references support, I have used some of these references for internet, some of the references of people whom I work with, whom I have talked to, be it professional or be it personal. I would always say that I'm always there for anyone's support or reference. Post this call, I'm always available for anyone. This I have been doing, the career coaching I have been doing for many people for years together, be it from a library profession or any profession. I am always willing to help people, be it on email or phone. Anyone is interested can always reach out to me through LIS Academy or NCSA Net. I'm willing to support them and help. Social distancing, right? I would always say with because of this COVID times, it's always me social distantly yours. And thanks a lot for your time. I know I just overshot my time. I apologize for that, but
No, no,
thank you all for listening to me, being
no,
patient enough.
no. Thank you, Prasanna. In fact, thank you very much for such an excellent talk. I should congratulate you, Prasanna. This is the one gray area for our alliance students. See, many of the industries, IT sector, etc., people will get their own mentors or counseling people, but unfortunately for alliance professionals, especially young students and young professionals, they are finding it very difficult to face interview. Person like you, Lakshmi, and Nagappa and Rajendra Prasad, Rajendra Babu, these are all very good counselors that I can take count you. And if at all of you try to help LIS Academy to take lead on this front. We are interested. We can create a career mentoring center at Elias Academy, and all of you can come and help us. And we will try to help and build our young generation in future days to come. Let them go like you also in industry sector also. I thank you once again, Prasanna, and I thank especially Lakshmi for answering most of the questions online. All most of the answer questions are answered by Lakshmi, and most of the participants have been supported and answered, cleared their doubts. So thank you, Lakshmi, once again. I request Dr. Mohan to take up one question or two questions to Prasanna quickly, and I will pass on all the emails which we receive to Prasanna separately, and in due course, if I will do have contact with all the four of you and try to build up some good initiative from LIS Academy itself to make some career mentoring center or career counseling center in due course of time. Over to Dr. Mohan sir.
Thank you, sir. Prasanna, we have received a lot of questions. Due to time constraint, I will ask only one question. That is from Balabharati Srinivasan. Shifting from academic to corporate or corporate to academic nature of job is different. Is there any difference? How can we handle the situation aligned to the new organization?
Uh, that's a good question. First of all, thanks for asking the question. This is more or less applied to most of us who wants to kind of either think about moving to corporate or even look at how people have moved, right? Honestly speaking, it's not difficult, but end of the day, as I said, right, it's about whether you want to have a job or a career, right? Whether you want to have a career in corporate, it's a more of an homework what you have to do in terms of where you stand, right? Whether you're really happy with your academic career, whether you are good enough there, or really want to kind of move into corporate sector, right? Corporate sector, people say that, right, compared to academic and corporate, it's difficult. Some people say that you have to learn initially to be a struggle and all those stuff, right? It's all about how you prepare yourself before getting into that, right? It's all about mentality of whether you are prepared enough to move to corporate sector. The moment you know or you want to move to corporate sector, as I said, learning and unlearning is very, very important in terms of what you're gained in academic. Just use it as an experience, but mentally prepare yourself in terms of this is how corporate sector is going to be. This is the typical role corporate is asking for. Be prepared in terms of mentally prepare yourself and talk to people, right? That's very, very important in terms of people who have moved in a similar role or from academic to corporate or corporate to academic. We have a lot of mentors available within India itself who have done a similar role. Talk to them, understand what works, what has worked for them, and also try to match up with where you stand. That should really kind of help you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much, Prasanna. Thank you, Dr. Mohan.
Thank you, sir.
And I thank Lakshmi also for her enlightened lecture. And now with this, we conclude the 25 lectures, including Vishal Gupta, 25 lecture series of this webinar. I thank all the speakers of this day today. Now I will hand over mic to Mr.